Welcome back, everybody, to the final ever episode of the MX Endurance Podcast, where we look at everything that's been happening in the world of endurance sports. My name is Tim Ford, and I'm joined by the sexiest voice in triathlon himself, James Bale. What an ominous way to start the podcast, mate.
It feels like a funeral, mate, doesn't it? It feels like a funeral procession. We need some horns or trumpets or something in a slow march. But yeah, this is it. This is it. This is over. It's over.
It's over forever. But don't let your elevated heart rates worry too much, because we are going to be back soon. There's no need to change your feeds. There's no need to unsubscribe, resubscribe, anything. We are going to be rebranding the podcast in the next couple of weeks, coming back as Talking Triathlon. We're both really excited about it. The main reason being that you may or may not have seen that this week MX Endurance has rebranded as Phoenix Club. So there's no need for a Phoenix Club podcast, and there's no need for a podcast for MX Endurance, which was the was the premier global triathlon community created by four-time world champion Chris McCormick, but is no longer. It is rebranded as Phoenix Club, which is very exciting. But yeah, we are stepping out on our own to continue the legacy of this podcast with Talking Triathlon. So we thought it's a bit weird this week to do a podcast when the namesake of the show doesn't really exist anymore.
But we wanted to say goodbye, didn't we? And then we wanted to share our reinvention.
What is
like
it?
Phoenix.
Long live
like a phoenix who's not associated with Phoenix, with rising from the ashes.
Long live the king is dead. Long live the king. The podcast is dead. Long live the podcast. Something like that.
Absolutely.
So what we thought we're going to do, there's a few little things we want to talk about this week. It's definitely going to be a shorter show. We are going to take a few weeks off. We're not sure about exactly how many, because there's a fair bit of logistics happening now behind the scenes. Changing of names, branding, taking ownership of YouTube channels and all sorts of stuff. Working out exactly what we're going to launch with, because we're going to launch. There's some cool, exciting changes coming. The podcast will still be the same. It'll still be us, maybe plus a few extra people. But yeah, we're going to be coming back in a few weeks to launch Talking Triathlon. It'll still be the same feed. So wherever you guys are listening to this or watching this, it'll still be the same place. It'll just, you might open your phone.
Don't change a thing.
Yeah,
don't
you might
Twitch.
You might
don't
go, what
worry.
The fuck is,
don't delete anything.
Yeah, you'll see the logo and be like, what the fuck is this thing? And about, no,
it'll all change around you. It'll all change around you, and our dulcet tones will return.
Some things I'm looking forward to is it because we're not going to be we are, I still work for Manor and everything, and there's some association, but I might finally be able to say the one word that I don't normally say on podcast, mate.
I always assumed we didn't say that because you weren't actually allowed to say it on a podcast.
You can definitely say it. A lot of the podcasts I listen to say it a lot.
There you go. There you go. The shackles are off eventually.
I think that's probably a good thing, to be honest. It is going to give us a lot more, I guess we can say some things that maybe we wouldn't have said in the past and things like that. But like, it's nothing bad. Not like there's no bad feelings. Anything. Like I still work with the company and everything. I think it's just Phoenix Club is just going in a very different direction to what MX Endurance was, in a positive way. Again, it's not negative. If our members, still fantastic. But for me, I think this podcast is a fantastic tool for me with the work that I do, and I know for what you do as well, James. So it's something that we wanted to keep going. It was just a case of sort of looking at exactly how we do it. So we'll be doing some different things. I think we're going to launch a Patreon at the same time, because again, we are now doing the podcast ourselves. So there's going to be some things that we need some help with. If you guys like the podcast, we'll announce all that when it comes out. But
full package of benefits coming.
Right. Perfect thing.
Get involved.
Exactly. And I think the difference is this time that it'll literally go straight into the show, which is exciting, because we're looking to, I guess, elevate what we did before in terms of the content we put out and stuff like that. But there's the Talking Triathlon YouTube channel. Sorry, not YouTube. It will be the Talking Triathlon YouTube channel, but it's not yet. Instagram is already set up as Talking Triathlon. The Twitter account for MX has now already been handed over to Talking Triathlon. So start following all that stuff. That's where you start to see the announcements. But that's all out of the way, mate. It's like I said, I've sort of lost the rhythm, because I used to have my certain rigmarole that I would do.
Yeah. Well, but by the time we come back, this intro will be far more polished and
Definitely.
back exactly the way it was, but with a rebrand to Talking Triathlon, and we'll get everyone involved. And it's going to be a really interesting few months as we transition across to that. We're in the water at the moment. T1's coming up fast, mate.
I mean, I suppose we can give some insight into, I guess, what we're planning, because we really like the way that we just talk. This isn't a show about breaking the news or trying to make the news or anything. I think what we always see ourselves is about discussing the news and what's happening in the sport, giving our opinions, having a good time, trying to be entertaining and informative. But we're definitely not trying to be out there creating the news. So we still want to do that. We also, we love doing the interviews with athletes, and I think we sort of realized last year was a little bit I don't like the word, but it was a bit clunky, sort of just randomly bringing in athlete interviews and things. So the plan, at least, is to try to maybe do a topic based, a chat episode, and then maybe an interview episode every alternate week. It'll just depend how we go with guests and things like that. But that's roughly where we're looking. But it'll still be your two favorite boys talking about triathlon.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
We won't just be going through results blandly, like you say. We try and pick out the interesting topics and the dynamics from races and what the politics behind the scenes is, and have a discussion around that sort of thing. And that's basically where we're going to go. And there's going to be plenty of opportunity for audience involvement as well. So we're looking forward to hearing from everybody.
Yeah, exactly. We'll probably set, as I said, if we do a Patreon, we'll probably set up some sort of group. Maybe it'll be Discord, maybe it'll be a Facebook. I know Facebook's not so popular anymore, so we'll work out something. But yeah, we definitely want to get more audience participation in the shows. Probably look to do some bonus content. It might be coaching stuff, because I know that's the one thing we always get. Oh, why don't we talk to coaches? Maybe it'll be interviews with patrons. I'm not exactly sure yet. That's what we're going to take a couple of weeks to go away and work out. But we'll still get on a few bits and pieces this week. Again, when no promises how long this episode goes, because there's a few changes. But mate, after all that, how's things going? How's the training? How's the body? How's the hip?
The body's rough. The body's rough. I am struggling at the moment.
Yeah.
To keep my nose out of the ground, mate, if I'm honest, because I can't do any exercise. Everything hurts. I'm rehabbing every day. The rehab hurts a lot. It turns out they think that my hip issue is basically a hip tendinopathy. And
Oh no.
you know well,
Oh
the,
no.
the pain involved in that sort of thing. So instead of the hamstring this time, it's the biggest tendon in the body that goes around the hip, and apparently it's really pissed off.
PRP, mate. Get straight on that PRP injections. It's magic, that stuff.
Well, I've had a corticosteroid injection already, which has numbed it and allowed me to do some rehab. So I'm working on it. I just want to be running again, because at the moment I'm feeling very sedentary. And you know what it's like. The sensible side of your brain is like, well, you know what? Be disciplined. Now's the time to be disciplined, to hunker down, to eat the right food, to look after yourself, to get enough sleep. And then there's the reality where you're just like, well, I can't do anything. I might as well eat all the crisps. Okay.
Oh man, it is it because that is the exact process, right? Where there's the brain like, okay, I can't train that much, so I'm going to be really good. And then you're like, yeah, but I can't train. It depresses me, and what makes me feel good is chippies.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have a few chippies and
chippies and a couple of ales at the weekend. Oh, so, but there you go. How's things your end?
Yeah, it's interesting, mate, because I'm right in the thick of the training again, which is really cool. I'm really enjoying it. But the one thing I'm really getting pretty fucking annoyed by is I have just lost the ability to run fast. Like, I think I talked a little bit with Joe about it last week, but I've been
mate.
It's not. I refuse to believe it's age. I think it is just, as being injured as long as we're talking about over a year without really being able to do speed work and stuff. And I think it's just the body's forgotten how to run fast. So I'm doing all these intervals and these pickups. It's a slog. It's that that point in training where it's just hard. So it's not fun. You're finishing. You're not as fast as you want to be. So you don't even get that. Like, yes, it's just like, for fuck's sake, why is this so?
No, I feel that. I haven't run for 3 weeks now, and I can see a long runway before I get to run again. And I'm already worried about that sensation when I come back, because it's going to be slow pain. You know what that first month is like, where everything feels ridiculous. So yeah, I feel your pain, but it'll come back. Just keep going through the process. Believe in the process, mate.
I definitely am doing that. It's like I said, knowing that is probably the main thing that's keeping me going. But yeah, fuck, it's just like, God, this didn't used to be so hard. But nah, it's all good. Like I said, I love the grind. It is just a little like, I'm used to seeing certain numbers and I'm not seeing them. But swim is good. I did a as I said, a 10-200s yesterday with 30 seconds recovery, which sounds like a lot, but when you're trying to swim these 200s, like, what does Reese get me to do? 1500 TT pace. And so I think I averaged like 123 pace for the 200s, which I was really happy with. But fucking hell, it was hard. Like, I was absolutely gasping for. I finished the last one. I was like, "Get me out of the pool. I hate this." But it's nice to see some faster numbers in the pool, which is the opposite of. But like, my swim volume, I'm going to swim close to 20K this week, which for me that's huge. Like, I normally do like 10 to 15.
That's probably I think the most I've ever swum in 1 week was about 22, 23K. And that was when I was going for how much can I swim in a week sort of, attitude. But yeah, that's big. That's big volume.
today was 1,000 repeats with paddles and pull buoy, and it was just
I
keep
love swimming,
count.
but you know what I'm going to do?
What's that? Swim.
I'm going to start swimming.
Oh,
I love swimming with
where'd you get
paddles.
that? Where'd you get that idea from? I don't know. Maybe somebody suggested it last.
It just came out the back of my mind.
Well, look, there are a few races we can talk about. You know, you've put together some results. There's definitely some things we should discuss. And I think the place to start is in Switzerland, where we saw Daniela Ryf win a race.
We did, and this was my favorite result of the weekend. There were two results I particularly liked this weekend, and this is one of them. This probably being my favorite, because Daniela Ryf, you know, incredible long course, incredible 70.3 athlete, but incredible long course athlete at the same time. And Ashley Gentle, someone who is, you know, taking middle distance by storm at the moment with incredible running. It was refreshing and surprising and exciting to see Daniela take this race as she did. And basically she attacked on the bike, with Ashley Gentle quickly losing time after dropping off from Ryf. Ryf had put 45 seconds into her by the 17-kilometer mark. At kilometer 42, Ashley Gentle was riding alone 2.5 minutes behind Ryf. But into transition, Ryf had extended her lead to 6 minutes 17 over Gentle, because she put together a 2:14.15 bike split, which was 6 minutes quicker than anyone else on the course. And Gentle, being the runner that she is, obviously started whittling down that gap. But you know, there's no way you're going to run that into Daniela Ryf when she's running a 1:22.13 run split. And she beat Gentle by 2:23. Gentle ran a 1:18.19. So the final results were Daniela Ryf in first place on 4:04.33, Ashley Gentle in second on 4:06.56, with Anna Reichmann in 4:17.48, rounding off the podium. But for me, mate, I love to see it. I love to see it. Go on, Daniela, have it.
Again, I think, I don't know. For the first time in a long time, we're actually really seeing a point in women's long distance racing where there are so many contenders. And I think that triathlon has a short memory, right? And it's funny considering that she did win an Ironman World title last year, and people probably just, I mean, I'll admit I was expecting Ash Gentle to sort of wipe the floor here, to be honest. I saw Ash Gentle was racing this race. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like, yeah, we're going to see Ash do her thing. It is fascinating to me that Ash she's very good at that PTO distance, but we see her go up to the 70.3. She's not quite as good. Like that little bit extra distance seems to, I don't know, challenge her. But I mean, Daniela Ryf is such a good fucking bike rider, right? Like we saw her ride to the front of the race in Kona last year. You know,
and a home advantage here. You know, she's got a home advantage. She's got that sort of, she knows these roads. This is her backyard. This is my manor now. And in an environment like this, where a race is working out, where Ryf's off the front, Gentle's chasing on her own. You know, it wasn't like Gentle was in a pack. You know, it wasn't like they were switching turns to try and bring her back. Yeah, you put anyone up against Daniela Ryf solo on a bike, you're gonna bleed time. And she hadn't got time to bleed.
Yeah, it's funny watching this, and again, we're going to talk about another female athlete a little bit later, but you realize how Taylor Knibb is quite Daniela-esque, right? In the way she sort of, you know, she's a very good swimmer. I mean, Daniela's maybe not the best swimmer, but super strong biker. And this is how Danny usually wins races, right? Like it's, you know, gets to the front on the bike normally, and then just sort of fucking just hangs on. But yeah, it just shows you can, you know, I think we're so used to seeing some of these fairy tale races like what we saw Ash do at the PTO in Dallas last year, where, you know, a 6-minute lead and a half, like let's be honest, that's, if you're a professional athlete, you shouldn't be able to run another professional athlete down, because it's a big difference in pace. And
yeah, I mean, Gentle ran 4 minutes into Ryf, which is incredible. Yeah. But like you say,
6 minutes is
at the top of any sport. The differences should be more fine than that, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the beauty of our sport, I suppose, is the tactical nature.
Correct.
Of maybe Ryf could have gone a bit slower on the bike and ran slightly faster.
Yeah, but exactly.
But she didn't need to, because she knew that if she absolutely smashed it, and she smashed it. I love it. I love it.
It's good, isn't it? Like, yeah, I mean,
it really is good.
Yeah. Again, this time last year, you know, she'd won Ironman St. George World Champs. We thought she was back with a vengeance. We were going to see her start to win everything again, and then she obviously dropped off a little bit. it's just a fascinating time at the moment where there's so many. I actually copped a bit of shit on Instagram this week for saying that some athletes, namely one, is a little bit hot and cold, and I got told to do better. And I'm gonna say fuck you. I'm gonna keep doing what I want to do. Thank you very much. But yeah, there really is a lot of like up and down athletes, and I think it's funny because it's like Ash General's done badly here. Like she's not had a bad race. We're not saying suddenly a massive drop in form. Like she still comes second, right? But there is a lot more, I suppose, inconsistency. And I don't think I don't know whether it is that the athletes are less consistent or if it is just that it is so competitive at the top end now that each week you just have another, there's so many people can win it that statistically not the same person can win it every time because the gaps are so small between the athletes. It's phenomenal. I love the fact that we're like, it's one of the things I get. I love you, Christian, but stop fucking winning everything, mate, because it gets a bit boring. Like I love in women's racing at the moment. You can literally look at most start lists. You genuinely don't know who's going to win it because there's so many names on the list that could win it. And it's great to see Danny back in there. Not that she's ever not been, but yeah, I love it.
Yeah, agreed. Congratulations, Daniela. And this bodes well for the rest of the year. I am very excited to see what she can deliver because I am a big fan.
Yeah, we always have been. I think she's fantastic. What else, mate? What are we gonna talk about next?
Do you want to talk about 70.3 Boulder?
Let's do it.
Okay,
Let's
well,
do it.
shall we talk about the men first, being that we kicked off with the women's race in Switzerland?
Was there a men's race in Switzerland?
Only. No, it was a women's pro women's only. But on the men's side in Boulder, defending champion Matthew Sharp of Canada was first out of the water. Pre-race favorite Long was out of the water 2:19 back alongside Lefferman and Lionel Sanders. Basically, Sam Long took the lead on the bike. Coming off the bike, Long was in control as defending champion Sharp, joined by Sanders and Lefferman, rolled into transition close to 4 minutes down on Long. By 18.5 kilometers, Long had 5 minutes buffer and looked on course to take his third successive middle distance win. Long took the tape, but the interesting bit was behind him as Lefferman and Sanders were fighting for second place. Lefferman dropped Sanders and looked to be clear until the old dogged bastard dragged his way back up to the back of Lefferman, and they were neck and neck as they rounded the corner into the finishing straight. Lefferman misjudged the sharp corner into the finishing chute and collided with the inside line. Ceded the inside line to Sanders, and Sanders powered away to take second place. So it was Sam Long in first place in 3:33.23, Lionel Sanders in 3:38.13, and Cliff Lefferman in 3:38.40. I love Lionel Sanders,
mate.
I love that Long beat him, and I love that he just like
yeah, and you can imagine
his way back up there.
But you can also imagine like Lionel really digging to run fast, not looking like he's running fast, but running faster than like he should. And it's God, there's just that he's such a
it's like fucking. It's like if you stumble across a hippo in the wild, and you think I'm all right. It's far enough away. I can outrun that, and then fucking eats you.
He's not a lion. He's a hippo. They've got it wrong. He's not the lion. He's the hippo. No, like I don't. Nobody's been Lionel Sanders. Not because he's faster than them. He's just like he doesn't lose that sort of shit. It's phenomenal. But Sam Long is on an absolute tear, mate. Whatever, we spoke about him, changing his, he fired Dan Plews a few, weeks ago, whatever. He is, whatever it is, he's fucking on one. And these are fast times. Have you seen the bike? 152, 153. Like that's fucking, and again, this is a Boulder, right? So this is a race at altitude. So the air's thin. God, it's good. I love it.
Flat course.
No,
it ain't flat. I mean, it's not like mountainous, but it ain't flat.
I love to see this. I mean, I've said this a lot. I think that Sam Long is an extremely talented 70.3 athlete, and one of the bigger mistakes we've seen him make in recent times was committing too hard to Ironman. And it's not that he's not good at Ironman. I just feel like, mate, make hay while the sun is shining. You were young and you were fucking fast. Do this shit, Sam, and go to fucking 70.3 Worlds or the PTO. I mean, I reckon we're going to see Sam could do really well at all the PTO events if we see him that US one. Singapore's maybe a bit hot, I'm not sure. But I'm expecting to see Sam go again and be really competitive at 70.3 World Championships, which is what I want to see. Like I said, I like that he's sort of racing. He's got that bit of mongrel back in him. He seemed to be really, he was talking about, people have judged me wrong and all that. Fuck, I love the storm out. I love the shit with Sam Laidlow last year, and I love to see him fucking just going out there and whooping ass, mate. It's cool to see.
after the race, he said, I could feel the burden on my shoulders after I came out to Boulder from the Gulf Coast. I could feel a little bit of pressure with a lot going on. So I just had to focus internally on myself and execute the training leading into the race. I left my parents' basement 2 years ago to move in with my girlfriend Lara over in Oro Valley. Oro Valley. I thought coming back to Boulder would be like coming back to this golden place, but I realized my heart is now in Tuscan. The biggest inspiration to raise my game has been Lionel. I've been trying to raise my game for a long time after being beat by him, especially following the sprint in St. George. And you have done that, my man. He beat him by some way, but I love Lionel.
Is that, I mean, it obviously comes from a place of respect, but also knowing the gamesmanship that Sam Long has, is that also just a little like, yeah, you're old, mate.
Yeah, I've done it now.
I've been so motivated by you for so long, Lionel. You've inspired me for so long. It's cool. And again, I like to see these guys. If I had to picture people that I'd like to see race often, it would be Sam Long, and I mean, there's lots, but I like that we've seen Sam Long and Lionel Sanders have 3 races now, and it's just been this. Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been really, really great. And again, I'm looking forward to seeing you put those two in a field with a whole bunch of other big hitters. It's exciting. It's a very exciting prospect.
More to come. And then on the women's side, it was Taylor Knibb basically winning from gun to tape. She exited the water at the front of the race, soon took the lead on the bike. By the 7.7 kilometer split on the run, she'd built a massive gap. She had 6:36 over Lawrence in second. And yeah, basically she won it, and she won it strong. In first place was Taylor Knibb in 3:56.34. In second place was Horry Lawrence in 4:04.39. In third place was Jenny Metzler in 4:05.26. And that is a big gap, 3:56.34 to 4:04.39. She built the gap on the bike, and she continued to build it on the run.
She is. I saw Christian Blumenfeld said that she's the best triathlete on the planet at the moment. And I reckon he's not far off the money. Hey, she's so good. She's so fucking good, right? Like, I still can't get over that 70.3 performance last year. And again, the only concern I slightly have with Taylor is we saw her, she was injured last year. And I believe, I don't know if it was the same injury or she's re-injured again, but I don't want to see her become like, I don't want to be disrespectful, like Alistair Brownlee-esque a little bit. She's going to, she flirts that line really well, much like the Norwegians of short distance, long distance, and has success at both. But we didn't really see the Norwegians get injured too much. So that's my only thing, because again, you talk about getting excited about seeing an athlete race. Taylor Knibb is another one of those athletes that's just like, fucking, let's see what she can do. And again, she's going to force all the other women, not that they're already elevating, but it's going to elevate the women's field even more. And you think about how exciting women's racing is at the moment. It's phenomenal. It's so exciting. And this was an absolute domination, like just a complete domination.
Indeed. And after the race, she said, I got surgery on January the 3rd. Then my first race back was on May 13th. I had about 48 hours where I was like, wow, I'm back. After that, then I got home to Boulder and got pretty sick. I was sick for about a week, and I'm still coming off that. I wasn't sure if I was going to race the other week just because I was thinking of my health. A number of factors made me decide to race despite the sickness. It's such a great opportunity to compete, and I promised myself in February that I'll be racing Boulder no matter what. So coming off the back of some sickness, she comes in and wipes the floor with everybody.
Wipes the fucking floor with everybody. Absolutely. You love to see it, mate. You love to see it.
Yeah, indeed. What we got coming up? We've got Challenge Roth coming up, haven't we? And Dan Lorang was interviewed recently saying that he thinks Annie Haug is in a fantastic position to get a Roth hat trick.
I think she's going to get a Roth hat trick.
A note of choice. Are we going to be back in time to do a preview for Roth? Probably not.
Probably not, to be honest. Yeah, that's okay.
But we'll be back soon after that. As I said last week, I'm going to be at Ironman Switzerland in a few weeks. If anybody's there and wants to hit me up and buy me a coffee, I'm always receptive to that sort of thing. An oat milk latte is my jam.
Well, that's it, mate. I think we've covered the things we wanted to cover. Anything else you want to talk about? Super League announced their races, but we can talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later. Not really. I'm not even going to do the spiel this week, am I?
No need.
We need a new spiel.
We need a new spiel. All we can say is, guys, head over to the Talking Triathlon Instagram account. It's literally at Talking Triathlon Instagram. That is when we will keep you guys updated with what we're up to, what we're looking to do. There's a logo that is not the logo that's there now. I gave James a bit of a sneak peek of what it's looking like, but that'll come out in the next couple of days as we work on it. Guys, thank you very much. We'll be back in a few weeks.
It's been a pleasure. Cheerio.